There's a troop ship just leaving Bombay, bound for old blighty shores, heavenly laden with time-expired men, bound for the land they adore. There's corporals and sergeants and W1s and I could go on, but hold on. Why did you sing that song? Well, I think it's got times where I left the army, my discharge. Da 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 da. That's my discharge book. And inside, all the details. Back front here. Yes. Finally decided it was time to part company. I tried very hard to get the army to give me further education and advancement to a technician rather than a radio relay operator. And I passed all their tests they gave me, but they just wouldn't. They kept giving me more tests, and and it was obvious after a while that they just weren't going to do anything. Just a stupid game they were playing. Well, from my point of view, that is. Anyway, so I decided to leave and bought myself up by purchase. Cost £200, which was a fair amount of money in them days, back in '63 or '5, what it was. And so I decided to go. And I didn't go by a boat, a troop ship. Flew back in this prop jet job, and to Manchester it was. From Gutterslow to Manchester, I think, and got a train to Chester, and that was the demobilisation centre. Now, things didn't go too well, really. One of the things that annoyed me was the fact that you have to have a medical. Well, no problem with that, really. But I've got this third nipple, only a tiny little thing, it's no more than a bump, really. We notice it for anything. But this army doctor, snubbed up little bugger, got his pencil and poked it with the pen and said, "Oh, the excess nipple here." Well, I felt like hitting him, but I didn't, of course. That might spoil me discharge. Another thing that went wrong was I went into my room, barrack room, with about 4, 5, 6 other guys in there, beds, in my locker, and all my kit had disappeared. Now, obviously, if I'd got discharged without all this kit, I'd have to pay for it. And no way I was going to have that. So I turned to these guys, and they'd been there a long while. And obviously, what their game was, they were pinching guys' kits. The guys going, getting demob, too keen to get out to cause any trouble. Well, I tried a different game. I turned around and said, "Look," I said, "I'm going across the Naffy for a cup of tea and a piece of cake. And then when I get back, if my kit's not back, I'm going to the MP's." "Well, you can't do that," he said. I said, "I can, you just watch me." So I walked out there and then went across the Naffy, had a cup of tea and a piece of cake, came back. My kit was all back there, every single bit, plus a couple of extra pairs of shoes. And that was a good thing, because you kept your shoes that you issued, you kept them when you got out, and a few other bits and bobs. And so that worked. And of course, then I'd arranged before I left the army to get a job. And I had 1 or 2 interviews, and interviews with BT. Well, it was post office telephones then. So I was a civil servant for a while. I had to wait, it's May when I discharged, and I had to wait until September before I could start work. So I went along to the Labour Exchange and pointed out the position. They said, "No problem, Squire. You don't have to call in. We'll just pay you the money." So every week or what, I got this check thing, and that was it. Until September, when I started work for the post office telephones. Little green van things, they were then in them days with a crown on the side, Morris Minor vans, I think most of them were. And I started work as a technician 2B, was putting telephones in. And my first day at work, I thought it was quite different to what I expected. I thought that once I'd left the army, the work would be really hard, very strenuous, working all hours of godsend, wasn't like that at all. First day, got in this seat of this van with this guy who was going to be my boss and show me what to do. Straight away, drove around to this cafe, and while I got around this cafe, Where's the red lager? Is which sort of like wagons together, all round square, dozens of them, all in the same cafe. These guys were drinking away. They're there for about half hour to an hour, and that's the way it was. I sort of thought, well, when in Rome, do as the Roman do, fit in with this. I'm not going to argue about it. I'm the new boy, and so it turned out quite well, really, and started to put phones in, and it wasn't hard. I knew how to do it. I picked it up dead easy. Then eventually, after a while, they gave me a driving course. Now, on the post office, then there's only instructors and examiners. It didn't make it easier. In fact, I think it made it harder. They were really keen to make sure we did it right. My first test, after a week's driving, failed. But they put me in for another course a week later. There's none of this messing around with the post office in them days. And did the course, driving around Derby in this little green van, learned how to reverse using just the mirrors and this and that. Passed the test. So the guy gave me the chitty and he said, "You're not very good yet, mate." He says, "You've still got to learn a lot more." He says, "So be careful." But anyway, I was left and thought, head out here somewhere, 10 feet tall, driving down the road, back in towards the centre of Derby from Ulverston, I think the place was there. And the road went like that, and there's a lamppost there. Just missed it. And that taught me a big lesson, never to get too cocky, I think, and get carried away. And from then on, it's okay. And I've never had another accident at all. Well, never had an accident at all driving. Tell that to insurance companies. They think when you get to 80, you're past it, and they can slam you, which they have done actually this year. Anyway, I'll leave it there for the moment, and a lot of things happen after that, so it's going to take a long time to get through to present day, I tell you. Do we ever want to? I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, take care of yourself there, and behave.